There is a language that exists beneath all languages, a way of being that speaks louder than any words you could ever force from your lips. And within this ancient understanding lies a truth, so simple yet so profound that when you truly grasp it, when you embody it fully, you will find that attraction is no longer something you chase, but something that flows toward you like water, finding its natural path. And the 4 words that hold this power are not a spell to be recited, not a trick to manipulate others, not a formula to control outcomes, but rather a mirror reflecting the deepest state of your inner world. And the 4 words are, I am at peace. Yet even these words are merely symbols pointing to something far greater, for it is not the speaking of them that creates the magnetic force. It is the living of them, the embodying of them, the becoming of them so fully that your entire presence radiates the truth they contain. Because what draws people to you is never what you say, but always what you are. And when you are at peace, truly at peace, not pretending, not performing, but genuinely rooted in the stillness of your own being, you become like a temple in the middle of chaos. And people are drawn to temples. They are drawn to places where the noise stops, where the storm cannot reach, where something ancient and unchanging resides. And this is what you must understand if you wish to attract not just anyone, but the right people, the aligned souls, the ones who resonate with your frequency. Because attraction is not about manipulation. It is about magnetism. And magnetism is created not by effort, but by presence, not by doing but by being. And the world is filled with people who are drowning in their own turbulence, trapped in the endless cycles of their uncontrolled minds, chasing validation, seeking approval, performing for attention. And when someone encounters a person who is no longer running, no longer chasing, no longer desperate, they feel it immediately. They sense the difference. They recognize on some level that this person has found something they themselves are still searching for. And that recognition creates attraction. Because deep down every human being is seeking peace, whether they know it or not, whether they admit it or not. They are exhausted from the battle inside their own heads. And when they meet someone who has laid down their weapons, who has stopped fighting with reality, who has surrendered to the flow of life while maintaining their inner sovereignty, they are pulled toward that person, like a moth to flame. Not because that person is trying to attract them, but precisely because that person is not trying at all. And this is the paradox you must embrace, that you stop needing people to like you. The moment you stop performing for approval, the moment you stop shaping yourself into what you think others want you to be, you become irresistible. Because authenticity is rare, and peace is even rarer. And when both exist in one person, that person becomes a gravitational force. But to reach this state requires you to go inward, to stop looking outside yourself for validation, to cease measuring your worth by the reactions of others, to end the exhausting performance of trying to be enough. Because you already are enough. You have always been enough. The only reason you did not feel this truth is because your mind told you stories. Stories about what you lack, stories about how you need to change, stories about how others see you. And you believe these stories because the mind speaks with such authority. It convinces you that its judgments are facts, its fears are reality, its constant commentary is truth. But none of it is truth. It is simply noise. And beneath the noise, beneath the layers of conditioning, beneath the masks you have worn for so long, there is a presence, a stillness, a being that has never been broken, never been lacking, never been insufficient. And when you touch that place, when you rest in that space, when you stop abandoning yourself to chase the approval of a world that will never be satisfied, you discover that I am at peace is not something you say. It is something you become. And becoming it requires discipline. Not the harsh discipline of self-punishment, but the gentle discipline of returning, again and again, to the present moment, to the breath, to the body, to the awareness that you are here, alive, whole, regardless of what anyone thinks, regardless of what has happened, regardless of what might happen. Because peace is not the absence of storms. It is the ability to remain still while storms pass through. It is the knowing that you are not the waves, but the ocean itself, vast, deep, unchanging beneath the surface turbulence. And when you embody this knowing, people feel it. They may not have words for what they sense, but they sense something, a quality of presence that is different from the desperation they encounter everywhere else. And this is what draws them in, not your words, not your strategies, not your techniques, but your state of being. And your state of being is determined entirely by what is happening inside you, by whether you are at war with yourself or at peace with yourself, by whether you are rejecting reality or accepting it, by whether you are resisting what is or flowing with what is. And most people spend their entire lives at war with their thoughts, their emotions, their past, their present, their bodies, their circumstances. And this war exhausts them. It drains their energy. It makes them heavy, tense, closed. And when someone is at war inside, they repel people, not because they are bad, but because their energy is chaotic. It creates discomfort. It triggers the survival mechanisms in others. But when someone is at peace, their energy is calm, open, inviting, and others relax in their presence. They breathe easier, they smile more, they open up, because peace is contagious, just as chaos is contagious. And if you want to attract the right people into your life, you must first ask yourself, what am I offering energetically? What is the quality of my presence? Am I bringing peace or am I bringing noise? Am I rooted or am I scattered? Am I here or am I lost in the past and future? And these questions are not meant to judge you, but to awaken you, to help you see that every interaction you have with another person is an exchange of energy. And if your energy is turbulent, you will attract turbulent connections. If your energy is desperate, you will attract desperate situations. If your energy is needy, you will attract people who either feed on that need or run from it. But if your energy is peaceful, grounded, whole, you will attract people who are on a similar path, people who are also seeking depth, authenticity, truth. Because like attract, like this is not a belief. It is a law, a principle as reliable as gravity. And yet so many people try to attract from a place of lack. They try to convince others of their worth, while not believing in it themselves. They try to appear confident. While feeling insecure, they try to project peace while at war inside. And this creates incongruence, a mismatch between what is shown and what is felt. And others sense this mismatch. Even if they cannot name it, they feel something is off, something does not align, and trust cannot form where incongruence exists. But when you are congruent, when your inner state matches your outer expression, when you are the same person alone as you are with others, when you are not performing or pretending or hiding, then trust forms instantly, connection deepens naturally, and attraction becomes effortless because people are starving for authenticity. They are exhausted from the masks, from the games, from the endless pretending, and when they meet someone who is simply real, who is not trying to be anything other than what they are, they feel relief, they feel safe, they feel seen, and they want more of that. They want to be near that. They want to experience it again. And so they are drawn back again and again. Not because you did anything to hook them, but because you offered them something rare, the experience of being in the presence of someone who is at peace with themselves. And this peace is not something you can fake. It is not a technique. It is a state that must be cultivated through inner work, through the daily practice of watching your thoughts without being consumed by them, through the discipline of returning your attention to the present when it drifts into worry or regret, through the courage to feel your emotions fully without letting them dictate your actions, through the willingness to sit with discomfort instead of constantly running toward distraction. And this work is not easy, because the mind resists stillness. It resists silence. It resists peace. It wants to keep moving, keep thinking, keep analyzing, keep judging, because that is what it has been trained to do. And breaking that training requires patience, consistency, awareness. It requires you to notice when you are being pulled into the mind's storm and to gently step back, to observe without engaging, to watch without reacting. And every time you do this, you create a little more space inside, a little more distance between the witness and the witnessed, between the awareness and the thought. And in that space, peace begins to grow, not as something you achieve, but as something you uncover. Because peace is your natural state. It is what remains when you stop adding layers of worry, fear, doubt, comparison. When you stop telling yourself stories about who you should be and simply rest in who you are. Who you are is not your achievements, not your failures, not your past, not your future, not your body, not your thoughts, not your emotions. You are the awareness in which all of these things appear and disappear. You are the space in which life unfolds. And when you recognize this, when you touch this truth even for a moment, something shifts. The desperate need for others to validate you fades, because you realize that validation from outside can never fill the void you feel inside. That void can only be filled by coming home to yourself, by accepting yourself completely, by seeing yourself with the same compassion you would offer a child. And this acceptance does not mean you stop growing. It does not mean you stop improving. It means you stop rejecting yourself. You stop waiting until you are perfect to finally be at peace. You realize that peace is available now, not in some future moment when you have achieved enough, earned enough, become enough, but right now, in this breath, in this, exactly as you are. And when you claim this peace, when you root yourself in this truth, you stop looking to others to complete you. You stop needing them to behave in certain ways for you to feel okay. You stop placing the responsibility for your emotional state on their shoulders, and this is incredibly liberating, not just for you but for them, because people feel the weight of your expectations. They sense when you need something from them, when you are looking to them to fill your emptiness, and it makes them want to run, not because they are cruel, but because it is too much pressure. No one can carry the burden of making another person whole. We can only walk beside each other, whole beings supporting whole beings. And when you show up as whole, when you no longer need someone to fix you, save you, complete you, validate you, the dynamic changes entirely. Instead of pressure, there is freedom. Instead of need, there is choice. Instead of desperation, there is space. And in that space, real connection can grow, because both people are free to be themselves without the weight of the other's unmet needs crushing them. And this is what it means to say I am at peace, and to truly mean it, to truly live it. It means I am whole on my own, I am complete within myself. I do not need you to be anything other than what you are. I am not here to take from you. I am here to share with you, to walk beside you, to meet you as an equal. And when two people come together from this place, the connection is powerful, deep, authentic, because it is built on freedom rather than need, on choice rather than desperation, on presence rather than performance. But this requires you to do the inner work first, to stop waiting for someone else to bring you peace, and to cultivate it yourself, to stop looking for happiness outside, and to discover it within, to stop believing that you are broken, and to see that you have always been whole, just covered by layers of conditioning, fear, false beliefs. And these layers can be removed, not by fighting them, but by seeing them clearly, by bringing awareness to the patterns that keep you trapped, by questioning the thoughts that tell you that you are not enough, by feeling the emotion that you have been avoiding, by sitting with the discomfort instead of running from it. And this process takes time. It is not a quick fix. It is a journey, a path, a practice that unfolds over months and years. But every step you take toward inner peace is a step toward becoming magnetic, toward becoming the kind of person others are naturally drawn to, not because you are perfect, but because you are real, not because you have all the answers, but because you are no longer pretending to, not because you never struggle, but because you have learned to hold your struggles with grace. And grace is attractive, vulnerability is attractive, authenticity is attractive, peace is attractive. These qualities do not shout, they do not demand attention, they do not perform, they simply exist. And their existence is enough. And when you embody these qualities, you will notice something beautiful. The people who are meant for you will find you. They will recognize something in you that calls to something in them. And the people who are not aligned will fall away, not because you pushed them away, but because there is no longer a match, no longer a resonance. And this is not a loss. It is alignment. It is the universe clearing space for the connection that truly serve your growth, your joy, your peace. Because not everyone is meant to walk with you, and that is okay. You do not need everyone to like you. You do not need to be attractive to all. You only need to be true to yourself. In that truth, the right people will appear. Drawn not by what you say, but by who you are. Drawn not by your performance, but by your presence. Drawn not by your need, but by your wholeness. And this is the secret that the ancient teachers understood, that the mystics and sages knew, that attraction is not about gaining something outside, but about removing the barriers within, about peeling away the false layers, until what remains is pure presence, pure peace, pure being. And when you reach this place, even if only for moments at first, you will see that you do not need to chase connection. You do not need to force relationship. You do not need to convince anyone of your worth, because your worth is inherent. It is not earned. It is not given by others. It is simply what you are. And when you live from this knowing, when you breathe it, when you walk it, when you embody it fully, you become a light, and lights do not chase moths. Moths come to lights. And so it is with you, when you are lit from within, when the flame of your peace burns, steady and bright, others will come, drawn by something they cannot quite name, drawn by the stillness they sense, drawn by the freedom they feel in your presence, drawn by the reflection of their own potential they see in you. And you will no longer ask, why am I not attracting anyone? You will simply notice that the right people are appearing, that connections are forming naturally, that life is bringing you exactly what you need, and you will understand that it was never about the 4 words themselves. It was always about the state those words represent, the inner peace, the self-acceptance, the wholeness, the alignment. And now you have the key, not to manipulate others, but to free yourself, not to perform for approval, but to rest in your own being, not to chase connection, but to become the kind of person connection naturally flows toward. And this is the path. Not easy but simple, not quick but worthwhile, not about becoming someone else but about removing everything that is not truly you, until all that remains is the essence, the presence, the peace. And in that peace, you will find everything you have been searching for, not outside but within, not in the future but in the now, not in someone else but in yourself. And from that place of inner wholeness, you will attract not just anyone, but the who are meant to walk beside you, the ones who see you clearly, the ones who meet you in truth, the ones who join you, not because they need you, but because they choose you. And you will choose them in return, not from lack, but from abundance, not from fear, but from love, not from need, but from freedom. And together, you will create connections that are rooted in peace, nourished by authenticity, and sustained by mutual respect. And this is what the sages meant when they spoke of alignment, when they taught that like attracts like, when they reminded us that we do not find our people by searching outside but by becoming ourselves inside. And so the journey is always inward, always back to the breath, back to the body, back to the present, back to the stillness beneath the noise, back to the peace that has always been there, waiting patiently for you to stop running and finally come home. And in that homecoming, you will discover that you were never alone, never broken, never insufficient. You were simply lost in the mind's stories. And now you are awake. Now you are here. Now you are at peace. And in this peace, you are infinite. You are enough. You are whole. And everything you need is already within you, waiting to be recognized, waiting to be claimed, waiting to be lived.